The World Cup started today, and while everyone was watching the opening ceremony, 5 things were happening off the pitch that FIFA does not want to explain. Fans stranded at airports with paid tickets and booked hotels. A president saying only the right people can enter. A football federation secretly begging a government to stop its own immigration officers. And protests outside the stadium while the show was going on inside. This is what actually happened, and nobody is saying it clearly. Until now. Number 1. Iran. Iran qualified for this World Cup. Their fans were excited. They bought flights months ago. They paid for hotels. They applied for tickets through the official FIFA process, the same process every other country uses. And then, days before the tournament started, the Iranian Football Federation made an announcement. Their entire official ticket allocation had been cancelled. Not reduced, not delayed, cancelled. Completely. Overnight. The Federation released a statement. It said, "The allocation granted to the Iranian Football Federation has been withdrawn. Under the current circumstances, the Federation is unable to provide even a single ticket to supporters of the national team. Not a few tickets, 0 tickets. For a country that qualified and is playing in the tournament. The Federation called it an action contrary to the spirit of international competition. FIFA has not responded publicly. The World Cup started anyway. Number 2. The day before the World Cup started, a journalist asked President Trump about the visa situation, about who would be allowed into the United States to attend the tournament. His answer was 4 words. He said his administration was working to make sure the right people come in for the World Cup, because right now, 4 countries whose teams actually qualified for this World Cup are under a full U.S. travel ban. Iran, Haiti, Ivory Coast, Senegal. Their players get an exemption because athletes are protected, but their fans, the ordinary people who want to sit in a seat and watch their country play football, they cannot come. Their own fans cannot watch their own team at a World Cup happening right now on U.S. soil. That is not a hypothetical. That is today. Number 3. Zoom out, because it is not just Iran. When you look at the full list of travel bans and visa restrictions under the current U.S. administration, at least 15 countries whose fans face serious obstacles getting into the United States for this tournament. Egypt, Ghana, Jordan, Morocco, Uruguay, Uzbekistan, all facing extra vetting, delays, possible denials. All countries with teams competing in the World Cup being hosted on U.S. soil. Imagine you support Morocco. Morocco qualified. Morocco is playing matches in Los Angeles and New York, but you, as a Moroccan supporter, face a visa process that might reject you for reasons that have nothing to do with football. Your team is there. The tournament is there. The door might not be open for you. Number 4. This one. FIFA, the organization that runs the World Cup, privately asked President Trump to pause ICE immigration enforcement raids across the United States during the tournament because they were worried that raids near stadiums, fan zones, and host cities would frighten visitors and damage the image of the event. FIFA's own president, Gianni Infantino, reportedly raised this with Trump directly. The same Infantino who flew to Washington for Trump's inauguration. The same Infantino who stood next to Trump at the World Cup draw and presented him with the FIFA Peace Prize. The relationship between FIFA and the Trump administration is extremely close, and yet FIFA still felt it needed to ask him to hold back his own immigration officers during a football tournament. Number 5. Today. While the opening ceremony was happening inside the stadium, people were standing outside it, protesting, not against football, against what the World Cup has cost the city around it. Mexico City residents have been dealing with water shortages, housing problems, electricity failures, and transport breakdowns. And their argument is that the billions of pesos spent preparing this city for the World Cup did not fix any of those problems. It just built a stage around them. This is also the stadium that quietly changed its name this week. The Estadio Azteca, one of the most iconic names in world football, is now officially called the Banorte Stadium, named after a bank, for a sponsorship deal. On the day the World Cup started, the stadium where Maradona scored the hand of God and the goal of the century, now named after a bank. So underneath all 5 of these controversies, there is one question. Can football actually unite the world if parts of the world cannot get in? That is not a political statement. That is a practical one. Iran's fans have no tickets. 15 countries' supporters face barriers. FIFA asked the host government to pause its own enforcement operations. A protest happened outside the venue while the show ran inside. None of this cancels the football. Messi will still play. Goals will happen. Upsets will break the internet. Moments will be created that people remember their whole lives. That is the power of the World Cup. It is real and it is enormous. But the gap between what FIFA tells you this tournament is and what it actually is, that gap is wide. And someone needs to say it plainly.